inequality means there's a room for rise. That you can innovate, you can get rewarded. Like AOC says, what's yours is mine. That's what Columbia professor is saying. We need to steer from all these rich people, and everything should be free, and everything, we need to destroy the country in the name of equity and fairness. And that same ideology made it into North Korea what it is today. And that's why I escaped from that country.
What is going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to you this evening and bring you a story that I saw on Fox News. And this is about a young woman that her and her mother escaped from North Korea. And now she's living here in the States, and she's going to college at Columbia. And she's hearing the same kind of talk that she heard in North Korea from not only the students, but from the professors as well. How far have we gone, guys? How far are we going to fall? From what we used to value as a country. But hey, guys, if you would, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below.
All right, North Korean defector, but now American citizen, Yeonmi Park. She says some things she's been hearing at Columbia University were a bit like her communist North Korean dictators, which is awful. She joins me right here on set, Yeonmi Park, author of the new book, While Time Remains, a North Korean defector's search for freedom in America. We should put it up on there. It is on the full screen. Just came out yesterday? Or?
Yes, it just came out.
All right. Well, congratulations. It's a great pleasure to meet you. I read part of it. So you're pretty tough on Columbia, and I'm sure rightly so. Just walk us back, though. You had a brutal past. You got out of North Korea, but sort of frying pan into the fire. You went to China. They made a sex slave out of you. You went through Mongolia to get to freedom. Mongolia is a very interesting country. It's a free market country. Tell us just a wee bit about your past.
Yeah, I was born in North Korea, and when I was 13 years old, we couldn't find any more dragon flies or grasshoppers. That's what I ate to survive. And at 13, I was looking for a bowl of rice. So my mother and I escaped to China. As soon as I arrived in China, I saw my mother being raped. And then they sold my mom into sex slavery for $65. And they sold me just over $20 because I was a virgin and child. 2 years later in China, I met missionaries from South Korea, and they told me that I could be free in South Korea. And we asked them, how do we do that? And he said, we can walk across a frozen Gobi Desert into Mongolia from China. So we did that, and by some miracle, I survived in the desert. And from Mongolia, they helped me to go to South Korea. And that's how I became free.
So somehow God was looking after you.
Well, just imagine, man, what this girl went through. And then come to this country and see people complaining and stuff, man. It's crazy, man.
Yes.
Really?
He did.
It's a great story. I don't want to dwell on it, but the Mongolia part, another segment sometime, but they're pretty good. It's pretty good government.
Yeah.
Pretty good free market government. So thank you for all that. I'm glad it's a blessing that you made it through. Now at Columbia, you're writing, these kids want to be oppressed. They love socialism. They love communism. They complain about capitalism. They say the problem is white people. I didn't know Columbia used to be a very good, school, higher education institution. And you're saying it's a lot of drivel, a lot of nonsense.
It's beyond nonsense. It's a madness. What they are saying is, they talk about oppression. They keep telling me they're oppressed. And America is horrible, that we need to destroy this country. I was asking them, what about America that you hate so much? They say we have inequality in this country. In North Korea, we don't have inequality. We are dying from starvation. The sign of inequality means there's a room for rise. That you can innovate, you can get rewarded. Like AOC says, what's yours is mine. That's what Columbia professor is saying. We need to steer from all these rich people, and everything should be free, and everything, we need to destroy the country in the name of equity and fairness. And that same ideology made it into North Korea what it is today. And that's why I escaped from that country.
You know what, guys, man? We live in the greatest country on earth, man. I definitely agree with that. but while we can keep it. Because I think, man, we are voting away this country little bit by little bit. We are losing, man. We are voting this away. And the people, man, that are most willing to vote it away are the ones that think they're oppressed. They think they've been held down by the system, by people in the system. You know, they're being oppressed. That's the reason why they don't have what they think they ought to have is because they're a particular race or they're a particular gender or they're gay or whatever. No. Maybe the reason why you don't have what you think you ought to have is because you don't work hard enough for it. Maybe that's the reason. You know, again, you know, you can take two people, a white person, a black person, one male, one female, and they can do the same job, the same position. You know, let's say they're both in media sales or something. You know, and one gets out there, man, hustles every day, man. He does what he should do. Let's say his name is Bob, man. And Bob gets out there and he hustles, man. He does whatever he needs to do. And he gets out there and he works. And, you know, then people look at him and say, you know what, I would have what Bob has. I would make as much as Bob if I were white, if I was a man. No. You would make as much as Bob if you worked the hours that Bob works. If you have the customers Bob has, if you're as good as taking care of those customers as Bob is, then you would. But the fact is you don't. And you want to blame it on some external factor. Bob keeps his phone on all night, just in case a customer has a problem. You turn yours off at 4 p.m., you know, and again, man, you're crying, and you know things aren't equal. No, things are equal. You just don't want to be honest with the fact that you don't go after things the way he does. You think that you ought to be able to get what you can get, and you ought to have an easier time with it because through the lens you're looking at things through, Bob has it easier than you do. When the fact of the matter is, he's working twice as hard as you're working. You know, again, man, companies will pay you on what you're worth. If you're producing as much as Bob, you're going to be paid as much as Bob. Why? Because the company, man, they don't want to lose you. So they're going to pay you what you're worth. They're going to give you the amount of money that you're worth. You're going to earn that money. You know, they're not gonna not pay you something because you're a woman or because you're black or because no, they're gonna pay you on what you're worth. Because again, man, if they don't, then the competitor, they will. Somebody else will come, scoop you up, pay you more money so they can have you. So they can reap the rewards of having an employee with that value. They will pay you what you're worth. So the company you're with, man, if you're producing, they're going to pay you for what you produce. They don't care whether you're white, black, whether you're male, female, they don't care. They will pay you what you're worth because they don't want to lose you because you're valuable to them. And that is one thing, man, people just do not want to see. They do not want to see. But anyways, guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks.
You son of a